Let's talk about an undervalued aspect of design and product design. Yesterday was a good day. Everybody was in a fairly good mood. Overall, the weekend was, I think, kind of a success. Our daughter only took a 1-hour nap, however, which changes things. Like, we're not used to this. It's kind of sad when you have a kid, like, they get to do some fun stuff, and then when they need the nap, they go down for 3 hours and just kind of kills the rest of the afternoon of your time with them. But it's changing. She's getting a little older. She seems to be napping a little less. So she went down for an hour nap and was ready to go again. So it really changed the game for our Sunday. What's happening to the house? It's tipping over? Then asked her what she wanted for dinner, and she comes up with the Cheesecake Factory, which isn't so far away from us, but it requires getting on the bus, and it's this little adventure to go, downtown Chicago, which we never do on a Sunday.
Here we go. Yeah, let me pick it.
Kind of an interesting secret of our family is we basically let Addison make all of our decisions. Most of them, anyway.
Well, I make all
But you make all the decisions for baby? Whenever we have like one or two things that we can't really decide on, like dinner tonight, we just ask her and she decides. Although because she only took a short nap, she's kind of cranky. And she's starting to... This might not be the greatest ideas we've ever had. There was something interesting that happened there. She barely ate her dinner. I mean, this was her idea. She wanted to go to the Cheesecake Factory, and then she doesn't eat. It has this like chicken romano. It comes with some pasta with tomato sauce on. It's a pretty basic, you'd think a kid would love this. She had resisted when I said, hey, do you want some spaghetti? She didn't want spaghetti. Somehow I convinced her to have some of my spaghetti. She took a bite of it and she was just like, yum. And that's kind of all she wanted then. She barely ate her own meal, which was just some cheeseburgers. And she went to the bathroom with my wife, with her mom, and she said, well, I just really like Daddy's SpaghettiOs. Look at that beautiful church. It's lit up so nice. Look at the beautiful church across the street.
Really pretty, huh?
I think that's interesting, right? She, when presented with spaghetti, she doesn't want spaghetti. But when in her mind, when she tasted it, and it tasted a little like something she knows she likes, SpaghettiOs, and she kind of melded the two, SpaghettiOs became this word for things she actually does like, and she accepted it. When it was just called spaghetti, she rejected it. What do you want?
You need a massage.
The buzzer. She brought some head massager with us. She carries it now. And I think that's the interesting part. When we present things to people, and this is another lesson from a child, these children represent like our base selves. And when you look at a child and you ask them what they want, when it's not familiar, they're scared. They shy away from it. But when you bring it up in a familiar context, hey, do you want SpaghettiOs? It makes total sense to her. Of course she wants it. SpaghettiOs are delicious. She wants SpaghettiOs, even if it's not really SpaghettiOs. I think you see that over and over and over again. In order to get through to people, you need to present it in a familiar package. And so I think it's important when you think about product design to name things in a familiar way to people. We may not be doing the best service to that inside High-Rise. We have a lot of names for things like deals and cases and contacts. But I'm not sure if people always think about it as deals. In fact, I know that's not what they always think about it as. We've gotten emails that are like, hey, can we rename deals to leads? Because that's how we talk about it in our organization. But, leads don't always make sense for everyone else either. That's why I really love the Basecamp feature that lets you rename all the features inside Basecamp. And I'd love to add that. I'd like to bring that ability inside High-Rise. Basically be able to give you the power to rename everything into the language that makes sense to you. But it's also a reminder how important it is to get naming right, to name things that are familiar. And I'm not sure, there's some things in High-Rise like broadcast and good morning. Broadcast is our bulk email tool. You wouldn't know it maybe from the word broadcast, but we also named it as a kind of a marketing effort to kind of give us something that a lot of people weren't calling it broadcast, so maybe we could use that as a way to kind of communicate this is something new. But I'm worried that it comes across as too new, that it isn't something familiar like bulk email. Bulk email might be a more familiar phrase to people to kind of make sure that they realize, hey, this is the thing that I want, the thing that I like. I need bulk email, not something called broadcast. So I'm not certain, but these lessons aren't lost on me. I take all the things that I talk about here too and bring them back and try to figure out whether or not I should be applying them better. And maybe this is an area where we really need to rename some defaults. But at least I'd love to have the feature where people can rename this stuff themselves. So they could call spaghetti SpaghettiOs. No tantrums today. We had a really good day on kid behavior. And we're back home now. That was a good meal. Very successful Cheesecake Factory run. She didn't eat that much, but she's also tired. Probably whatever, not that big of a deal. But anyway, back home. That's probably the end of our Sunday. I hope you had an awesome weekend, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.